So I just thought I would get on. I keep hearing, share your testimony. And I think over the last several years, um, I've been in the middle of the test. But I've learned so much and I've grown so much. And there's no possible way for me to glorify God if I don't share it all. So, one of the things I wanted to share today was just the journey that I've been on with our youngest son. And after spending 39 days in the hospital, coming out of that feeling more of a failure, I guess, and feeling guilty is what the enemy wants me to believe. And I was listening to a message today that talked about how, you still will have troubles and trials, and God will allow things to happen. But the thing of it is how do we glorify God through that? And so, my message today is for the mom or the dad out there who might be feeling guilty um, because of a situation that God allowed to happen. Um, to remember that that's the enemy putting the guilt in your mind, and that things do happen. I had thought that my knowledge that I had gained over the years would keep my son out of trouble. I thought that everything that I knew was for his good. And I have a lot to really unpack about what I realized in the time that we actually lived in Colorado, and I'll do that another time. But one thing that I want to share is that while I have been tested throughout my son's journey, things that I could not control that I thought I could, where he actually still ended up in the hospital. But the part of the journey that I want to share with you is the part that I was able to control, and that is advocating for my son. That is sharing with a whole team of medical professionals a different viewpoint than they were probably used to. The fact that I did have something in my toolbox that was able to help my son recover and support him faster than typical, that I was able to kind of fight for him for something that I knew was not fueling his body, and share that with the whole team also. And the other thing was that to let them realize that were there to do a service for me, and that was, their job is to save my son, and to kind of do have their medical professional opinions, and their they saved my son. And then after that, it's like it's up to me as a mom to be able to advocate for him in how to get him moving along and out, and really, like, what are the next steps for him, and what will you allow the medical field to control, and what won't you? And there are several things about my journey. When I was in the hospital, I felt really supported and loved, and people really did pour on the prayer. And when I got out, I felt empty and lonely. And, like, I don't have people checking in to see how Mitchell's doing, to see how I'm doing. And it can be a really, really sad road. And so I take myself back to, I never really created any really deep, meaningful relationships when I was in Colorado. It was some of my darkest moments, that 4.5 years that we were in Colorado. And so I look at it as a very, very educational time of my life. I learned a lot. And how to come out from that, how to feel confident again, and pursue some of the things that are important to me, some of the things that I know God put on my heart, um, and how to be okay with moving forward was a big deal. Like, who are your people, really? And I'm so thankful to be here in Jacksonville, Florida, creating new, meaningful relationships with people. And I know the last few messages at church have really been asking me to stop worrying about the people who judge and the people who might have tried to keep me silent and do what God is calling me to do. And it doesn't matter what that looks like to anyone else out there, but that I am glorifying God and being intentional about my walk and my example only for Him, not really anyone else. And so I always wonder, like, well, if I come across that I've just jumped back into the game and I'm living my life, what will people think? And, when we have setbacks in our journey, God does not tell us to just give up on everything that He's put in our heart. I think if we have setbacks, there's a reason why, and a purpose for whatever you're going through, whatever is tugging on your heart. And the biggest thing is to share the test, because there's a testimony in it. I'm very thankful that my son survived that crazy traumatic event. And if I don't share the things that I'm thankful for, and that, and I don't acknowledge that God pulled him through, it was God. It was a miraculous thing that that boy is alive. And I give God all the glory for that. I was just there alongside of him, being an advocate for him and doing all that I knew how to do. But God pulled him through. And for that, I'm super thankful. And I will share that testimony always. So I'm going to be trying to be more intentional about sharing some parts of the story that, no one knows, no one heard, no one sees. Just because I believe it is part of the test. And if I could help one family, then I've helped one family. So